Myself, A. Divya, studying BTech second year, CSCA section in Adi Shankara Institute of Technology. Register number 212H1A0511. My topic is deadlock. What is deadlock in operating system? What is deadlock? Write the methods of handling of deadlock. A deadlock is a situation where a set of process and blocked because each process is holding a resource and waiting for another resource acquired by some of other process. A deadlock happens in operating system when two or more processes need some source to complete their execution that is held by the process resource 1, process 1, resource 2, process 2. Deadlock in operating system. In the above diagram, the process 1 has risk and needs to acquire resource 2. Similarly, process 2 has resource 2 and needs to acquire resource 1. Process 1 and process 2 are in the deadlocks as each of needs the other resource to complete their execution, but neither of them is willing to relinquish their resources. The process 1 has resource 1 and needs to acquire resource 2. Similarly, process 2 has resource 2 and needs to acquire resource 1. Process 1 and process 2 are the deadlock. Each of them needs to resource to complete their execution, but neither of them is willing to relinquish their resources. A deadlock occurs if the four conditions hold true: mutual exclusion, mutual exclusion. There should be a resource that can only be held by one process at the time. In the diagram below, there is a single instance of resource 1 and it is held by process 1 only. Process 1 allocated resource 1. A process can hold and wait. A process can hold and multiple resources until request more resources for other process which are holding them. In the above diagram given below, process 2 holds resource 2 and resource 3 and is requesting the resource 1 which is held by process 1. A process can hold multiple resources and still request more resources for other processing which are holding them. The above diagram given below, process 2 holds resources 2 and resource 3 and is requesting the resource 1 which is held by process 1. Process 1 allocated resource 1 request process 2 allocated resource 2 resource 3. No preemption. A resource cannot be preempted for the process by force. A process can only release a resource voluntarily. In the above diagram, process 2 and cannot preempt resource 1 from process 1. It will only be realized that process 1 relinquishes it voluntarily after its execution is complete. A resource cannot be preempted for a process by force. A process can only realize a resource voluntarily. In the diagram below, process 2 cannot preempt resource 1 from the process 1. It will only be realized when a process relinquishes it voluntarily after its execution is complete. Thank you.